Part 99. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 981. Chapter 981. There is a real connection. She is someone I trust. She is not from the Yu family. Her last name is just a coincidence. Don't ask about the other eldest and second brothers. You will know if there is a chance in the future. Xianxia knew that she could not tell anyone about Yan Xiangluo's identity or that she came from another higher continent, not even her brother. She was doing it for their own good. Xianxia's eldest brother and second brother looked at each other. Yan Xiangluo and his wife were both very young, but they couldn't tell their cultivation level. They had even secretly asked the hidden guards of the He family who were hiding in the dark and had higher cultivation level than them. They didn't see the cultivation level of the two of them. Moreover, Yunwei said that when Yan Xiangluo and his little sister talked in her boudoir, they could not hear a sound. Evidently a barrier has been placed on the younger sister's boudoir. Their younger sister has not yet reached the level of cultivation to create such a strong barrier. There is no need to ask who set up this barrier. No matter how many questions they have in their minds, they know that nothing can be asked from their younger sister. They know very well about their sister. She usually looks very well behaved, but she is actually a person with great ideas. Even her parents cannot change the things she decides. By the way, brother, tell me, don't worry about the instructions anymore. Just follow the instructions. It's just a formality anyway. I'll stay at home. There's nothing dangerous. There's no need to worry about things that can't be solved. I will go to Xianxia to solve this problem myself in the future. The two brothers were stunned. When did the younger sister become so domineering? But the result of their discussion is also like this. It will be easier for the younger sister to think about it, and the younger sister is right. There is no need to worry about things that cannot be solved. It is better to practice to improve your strength, and then go to the 9 heavens to solve the matter. Brother understands, my little sister has grown up. Brother Xianxia looked at his sister with emotion, and then he and his second brother went directly to his father to reply. Xianxia also turned around and returned to his yard. After sitting cross-legged on the bed and thinking for a while, he began to practice. His originally confused mind suddenly became enlightened after talking to Yan Xiangluo. She no longer dwells on things that cannot be solved at the moment, and practices quietly. Nothing is more important than improving her strength. If she is strong enough, who can control her? Her desire to go to Xianxia was extremely determined because of this incident. Yan Xiangluo and Zhizhong did not go directly to Dengfeng Mountain. Zhizhong took Yan Xiangluo and teleported to the Yu family, the first family in Xi continent. Just now, two brothers from the He family asked him whether Luo was a member of the Yu family, but they were avoided by him. However, he was also curious about whether the Yu family here had any blood relationship with Luo. Although the possibility is unlikely, it's already here, and it won't waste much time to make sure. Yan Xiangluo was also very curious after hearing what Zhizhong said. After all, there were too few people with the surname Yan. The concubine family of the first family lives in Wangxianshan. The He family was impressive enough before. After seeing Zhizhong of the concubine family, I realized why the brothers of the He family openly and secretly asked Luo if he was a member of the concubine family. The status of the concubine family can be seen from the residence of the concubine family. A lot of difference. Do you need to go in? Zhizhong asked. Yan Xiangluo shook her head. If you want to save time, go in. Otherwise, they can only wait here for the Yu family to come out, but they cannot be sure when the Yu family will come out and whether the people who come out are from the Yu family. Zhizhong said, then go directly to the main courtyard. The head of the Yu family must not be a bloodline of the Yu family. This can be directly confirmed, and then they can leave without much delay. After saying this, he pulled Yu Xiangluo and disappeared, and then the two of them appeared in the courtyard of the main courtyard of the Yu family. However, Zhizhong used invisible mysterious patterns on them. With their cultivation strength, as long as they couldn't see when it comes to them, no one can notice their existence. Yanxiangluo looked at a man sitting on the main seat in the main hall, talking to the man sitting below him. Yanxiangluo used her spiritual consciousness to sense it. Not to mention, she really felt a trace of blood connection, but it was very weak. However, this also shows that the Yu family in Xi continent and the Yu family in Tianqian continent are really the same ancestors for who knows how many generations. This discovery made Yanxiangluo realize that the bloodline of the Yan family might have some origins. Yanxiangluo took Zhizhong and left the Yan family without disturbing anyone in the whole process. Zhizhong removed the invisibility pattern and asked, "How?" "There is indeed a trace of blood connection, but it is very weak if you don't specially sense it. You really can't sense it?" Zhizhong naturally understood after hearing this. The surname of Zhikongtian is also very rare. I haven't heard of that big family's surname. Is this bloodline related to the sect leader of the destroyed sect in Luoluo? Ruanxiangluo said, "The bloodline has become so scarce that it must have been a long time ago. The middle sect has been destroyed, and the sect master has long since disappeared into nothingness. There is no way to verify it. There is no need for us to get entangled. If we are destined, we will know it. If we are not destined, we will know it. That's fine. In any case, after avenging the sect in her previous life, she took the sect master's surname, which was considered to be the fate between them. In this life, she does not want any blood relationship to affect her life. This is also the main reason why she was not prepared to recognize the Wei family at the beginning." Zhizhong smiled. "Luoluo is reasonable." Yanxiangluo rolled her eyes at him. "I have lived 2 lives and I still can't think about it." Zhizhong sighed. "My lifespan in the 2 lifetimes combined will not be long." Yuxiangluo's eyes paused, her heart a little confused. "Then let's try to live longer in this life." Zhizhong hugged her and said, "Yes, we have to work hard to live longer. We have many wishes that have not yet been realized." The 2 of them teleported directly to Dengfeng Mountain. When they arrived here, they discovered that unlike the passage occupied by the Yunzhang Palace people in Zhuyuan continent, there was no force occupying this place. However, there are so many people cultivating in hiding in the mountains that they can't even count their breaths. But they are all far away from the climbing steps. The people who have reached the 9th level of transcending tribulation are only a few after all, and they have not seen anyone from Xi continent. Only Jizimo and Mu Changling were seen sitting side by side on the climbing steps looking down the mountain. When they saw them appearing, the 2 men immediately stood up, waved to them, and motioned for them to come up quickly. Yanxiangluo told Zhizhong about Hsiyun as he walked up. Finally, he asked, "Do you know the birth date of your cheap brother Zhao Jingyu in your previous life?" Zhizhong's lips twitched. "Cheap brother? Didn't he see how that younger brother was so cheap?" However, he was also a little surprised that Zhao Jingyu actually used this method to find a wife on the mainland. Thousands of years have passed, and not only has he not made any progress, he has also regressed to such an extent that the good name his father gave him has been in vain, and it has not come true at all. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 982. Chapter 982. Very few. To be honest, Zhao Jingyu's life is not very good. Luoluo wants to see what's going on, Zhizhong said clearly. Yanxiangluo nodded. "I probably know what's going on. I need to confirm it. I want to help Hsiyun." "Why don't you help now?" Zhizhong asked. Zhizhong, Luoluo's heavenly master, knew very well that he was definitely much stronger than in the previous life, and she could not be troubled by any instructions. "I'm worried that the passage from Xi continent to Zhikongtian will be blocked because of this. As soon as I leave, Hsiyun will have to bear the responsibility for this matter that she may not be able to bear. I want to help her, not harm her, so after going to Zhekongtian, we can find a way to help her more safely, Yuan Xianglou explained. Ji Zhezhong smiled, his smart and wise girl was back. I know what year and day he was born, but I don't know the specific time of birth, Ji Zhezhong said matter-of-factly. Hearing this, Yan Xianglou said, it seems that we can only go to Zhezongtian to resolve this matter. As long as she went to Zhezongtian, even if she didn't have a birth date, she could still see the problem with Zhao Jingyu when she saw him. Anyway, she guessed pretty well, but she just wanted to make sure. If it was as she guessed, it wouldn't be difficult to solve it. While the two were talking, they walked up to Jizimo and Mu Changling. Jizimo told the two of them what they had learned about the Nine Heavens passage. Although the passage to the Nine Heavens in Xi continent has not been blocked, there are only a few people who have truly succeeded in overcoming the tribulation. Ji Zhekong asked, when was the last time someone went to Zhekongtian? Jizimo said, 30 years ago. He continued, but it has been 120 years since the last time someone succeeded. Although 120 years is not a long life compared to the peak of the 9th level of transcending tribulation, there are countless monks in Xi continent, and there are definitely not just one or two people who have reached the 9th level of transcending tribulation. After all, the cultivation level of people from Xi continent is obviously faster than that of people from Zhuyuan continent. Under such circumstances, it took such a long time for one person to successfully go to Zhezongtian, which shows that the chance of success is low. Ji Zhekong and Yan Xianglou are not worried about themselves. After all, they have the memory and experience of Zhezongtian cultivation. They were worried about Jizimo and Mu Changling. One of them came from the lower continent and the other was born and raised in the higher continent. Therefore, the test of breaking through was unfamiliar to them. However, neither of them are exceptionally talented. Mu Changling has already reached the cultivation level to leave here, and given his age and experience, there should be no problem. Not to mention Jizimo, he has lived in the state of Seoul for so long, and his realm cannot be measured by the higher mainland realm. Thinking about it this way, I don't have much to worry about them. Even so, Ji Zhezhong also told them some situations that might happen during the breakthrough, so that they could be prepared. Half an hour later, the four of them finally arrived at the passage from Xi continent to Zhekongtian. They finally knew what the unblocked passage looked like, a simple and majestic stone archway with the words Zhekongtian written on it. Even though Yan Xianglou and Ji Zhekong had memories of the previous life, it was the first time they saw the passage from the higher continent to Zhekongtian. They had no time to pay attention to this matter in their previous life, and they were not interested in the lower continents. When they saw the passage, the two of them used their spiritual power to check the strength of the passage. It became clear immediately. In fact, the so-called passage to the Nine Heavens is to set up some obstacles when the monks break through the 9th level of peak cultivation. When advancing through ordinary levels, as long as the spiritual power is sufficient and the state is reached, it is easy to succeed when there is an opportunity to break through. However, with this obstacle, the difficulty of breaking through increases. It is not wrong to describe it as overcoming a tribulation. It is really like overcoming a tribulation once, and it has the effect of being reborn from the ashes. Of course, this is for the native high-level mainlanders, but for Ji Zhekong and Yan Xianglou, the two people with Zhezongtian souls, it has lost this effect. The two looked at each other and understood what each other meant. Although the obstacles set up here were difficult for Jizimo and Mu Changling, they were equivalent to high-level experience and they should be able to pass them smoothly. The place where we arrive at Zhekongtian is probably not the same place. Re-strengthen the connection between the four of us through the sound transmission stone, so that we will not lose contact after we arrive at Zhekongtian, Yan Xianglou said. Ji Zhezhong reminded Jizimo and Mu Changling, when you get to Zhezongtian, don't trust anyone. None of us are short of cultivation resources. You can find some secret realms to practice. Every continent has no shortage of secret realms and places to practice. This is how Luoluo and I came together step by step. It is better to rely on ourselves than to rely on anyone else. Jizimo and Mu Changling both had the feeling that Ji Zhozhong knew Zhongtian very well. Ji Zhozhong was not a talkative person, let alone a nosy person. Since he reminded them like this, it was not without purpose. You should also be careful, Jizimo said. His mission is to protect the descendants of the Ji family who have the imperial bloodline of Tianyun heir. Even if he has a body, his mission will not change. But after all, they are no longer in the 9 UN continent, and when they reach the 9 heavens, his cultivation level is not the strongest on the mainland. He does need to experience and improve his cultivation level. Who comes first? Yan Xianglou said. I'll go first. Mu Changling glanced at the three of them. Master, let's meet in the 9th heaven, Yan Xianglou said in a relaxed tone. Mu Changling knew that this girl wanted him to relax and not be too nervous, so she waved her hand grandly. That's necessary. As soon as he finished speaking, he walked into a passage like a stone archway. Mu Changling's figure disappeared, and the three of them could not sense anything. This also meant that they did not have to wait. Everyone would be separated automatically after entering, and they would all have their own breakthrough experience without disturbing each other. In this case, there is no need to wait. Jizimo said to the two of them, I'll go first. Ji Zhozhong let Yan Xianglou go in before him. When he was alone, he turned back and glanced. Although this is not the 9 UN continent, it is still a high-level continent. He knows that from now on, they will truly enter the world of their previous life. They have to face some things, and the task of eliminating demons has truly begun. Ji Zhozhong retracted his gaze and walked into the passage without hesitation. This life was different after all. At this time, those who were practicing hidden in the mountains felt that there was movement in the passage to the 9 heavens, and they all woke up from their cultivation. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 983. Chapter 983 was separated. Because they know that this is the aura fluctuation caused by a powerful person who has the 9th level peak cultivation level of transcending tribulations and is going to the 9th heaven and entering the passage. They were all curious that the great master was going to the 9 heavens, so they all quit practicing and rushed over. But when they arrived, they found that there was no one outside the passage. Under normal circumstances, if someone went to Zhongtian, their family would definitely send someone to see them off, and some friends and people who knew the news would also come. Why was there no one? The aura just now must have been someone coming in. If they were alone or two of them, they might have sensed it wrong. With so many people sensing it, there is absolutely nothing wrong with it. Does the person who goes in have no family or friends? No one left, people went in, but whether they succeeded or not would have to wait a while, and the stone archway in the passage would show it. They want to know whether the person who entered successfully went to the 9 heavens or died. The 9th level peak cultivation of transcending tribulations and entering the channel are different from ordinary promotions. Success will reach the 9th level, and those who fail will perish. This is also the reason why many people have reached the 9th level of transcending tribulation but are not in a hurry to enter. Because even if they reach this level of cultivation, their strength is different, and their realm is also different. They will improve their strength and improve it again and again until there is no room for improvement, and then they will come here only when they think the realm is acceptable. Because everyone knows this, once someone enters the passage, it means that this person can no longer improve in terms of cultivation strength and state of mind. Nearly all the monks practicing in the mountains have arrived. Those who can practice here are those who want to go to the 9th heaven. The spiritual energy here is rich and it is indeed the best place for practice. Another point is to practice here. Once someone goes to the 9 heavens, they will know immediately whether they have succeeded. People who have been cultivating here have been cultivating for a long time. The last person who successfully went to the 9 heavens was more than 30 years ago. Now someone enters the passage again. While waiting, they are also guessing who it is. Can go in. After all, it is not a secret for people in the mainland who have reached the 9th level of transcending tribulation. Even every family will spontaneously inform the mainland whenever someone reaches the 9th level of transcending tribulation. The whole continent knows it. There are currently no more than 20 people in Xi continent who have reached the peak of the 9th level of tribulation. These are the people who have been informed. It cannot be ruled out that there are some people who are cultivating in seclusion and have reached this level of cultivation without informing them. But there won't be many such people. After all, cultivation requires the support of cultivation resources. Without the support of a strong and wealthy family, it will definitely take a long time to achieve this level of cultivation alone, and one must be extremely talented. Just when everyone was guessing which powerful person had entered, a light that indicated that someone had successfully reached the 9 heavens continent flickered on the stone archway. Everyone is excited. Succeed, those who enter succeed. It's no wonder they were so excited, it also meant that they had a high chance of success when they entered. The light on the stone archway flickered for a few times and then stopped. Just as everyone was about to leave, another light on the stone archway lit up. Everyone was shocked. It turned out that there was more than one person entering. Looking at the flash of light, everyone's excitement had calmed down. At this time, they were thinking about which family actually had 2 powerful men successfully go to the 9 heavens at once. Who knows which family has 2 great masters who have reached the 9th level of tribulation cultivation? Someone couldn't help but ask. Everyone shook their heads. It was already the limit for a family to be able to produce a great master with 9th level peak cultivation. After all, if you want to cultivate a 9th level peak master, you need to consume a lot of cultivation resources, which is not what ordinary families can do. Affordable. The light stopped, and everyone was confused and had no choice. The person who entered this time was not accompanied by any family members. But just when they turned to leave, another light heralding success lit up the stone archway. This time everyone is blinded. How many people got in? 2 people have already succeeded, so how come another light of success lights up? This means that there are at least 3 people entering. Could it be that the great masters on the mainland who were at the peak of the 9th level of transcending tribulations discussed and went in together? Everyone was talking a lot and couldn't figure out what was going on. But I was curious if there was anyone else. So after the 3rd successful light disappeared, everyone did not leave, but continued to wait, wanting to see if anyone else had entered. Sure enough, it lived up to expectations. After a moment, the 4th ray of light lit up. This time everyone couldn't calm down. There were only so many great masters on the road who had reached the 9th level of peak tribulation cultivation. Now 4 of them left together at once, and they all succeeded. Whether the person who enters fails or succeeds, there will be a display on the stone archway. If he succeeds, a white light will appear. If he fails, a black aura will emerge from the passage. After 4 rays of light, everyone waited again. After a while, no more light came on and no black breath came out of the passage, indicating that all 4 people entered successfully and no one died. The people present are all talented people with good cultivation, so they naturally understand what the success of the 4 people who enter indicates. Some people who reacted immediately said, "Everyone, ask your family and friends who are the 4 powerful men who entered. They are all people who want to go to the 9th heaven." 4 of them succeeded in entering, which means that their cultivation methods and places are excellent. If you can know who they are, you can find out what kind of methods they use where they practice. The way. In this way, they have the opportunity to learn from it and take a shortcut. Just because so many of them worked together to find who the 4 people were in the passage to the 9 heavens, everyone in the entire Xi continent knew that there were actually 4 powerful men who successfully went to the 9 heavens together. But what surprised them was that the entire mainland was trying to find out who the person who went in was, but no one could find out. All the powerful people who knew the 9th level of tribulation cultivation were there. Therefore, they all suspected that they should be cultivators in the hidden world. However, they couldn't believe it. Could it be that they were cultivators with such strong talents? Are the cultivation resources so abundant? Xuanhuan and Yanxiangluo were not aware of everything that was happening in Xi continent. At this time, the 4 of them appeared in 4 places in Zhikongtian. In other words, although the 4 of them successfully reached the 9 heavens, they were all separated and appeared in different places. However, they had made an agreement before, so Jizimo and Mu Changling, who successfully broke through and reached Zhikongtian, did not contact them immediately, but waited for news from Zhikong and Yanxiangluo. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 984. Chapter 984. How long can I watch it? Although Zhikong and Yanxiangluo entered after them, they actually arrived at Zhikongtian before Jizimo and Mu Changling. Because the 2 of them have the memory of the 9 heavens, this passage is not difficult for them. It can be said that there is no obstacle at all. The 2 of them walked through the passage after entering. After coming out of the passage, their cultivation levels all made breakthroughs and reached Mahayana cultivation level. The 2 immediately began to break through and advance. After the 2 of them were promoted, Zhizhong waited for a while and then contacted Yanxiangluo. Luoluo, where are you? Yanxiangluo started to break through and advance as soon as he came out. After he succeeded in advancement, he didn't show up again. She was stunned when she looked at the familiar buildings on the mountain in front of her. She didn't expect that she would appear in Xuanhuan mountain as soon as she returned to Zhizongtian. At this moment, her sound transmission stone lit up, and she knew it must be Zhizhong. She came to her senses and immediately contacted Zhizhong. "Zhikong, I'm at the foot of Xuanhuan mountain," Yanxiangluo said. Zhizhong was stunned when he heard this. Xuanhuan mountain was the place where his relationship with Luoluo deepened in his previous life. The 2 of them had expressed their feelings for each other back then. Luoluo had already worshipped Saint Fenyuan as her disciple, and the strength of the Heavenly Master had far surpassed that of her senior brothers. But Saint Fenyuan said that her mind was unstable and asked her to go to the Kang's huge pavilion in Xuanhuan mountain to study quietly for 3 months before returning. He went to accompany her, and the 2 of them read books together every day, and their relationship became deeper and deeper day after day. But with just a few days left in the 3 months, something big happened in the Xuanhuan mountain library. Luoluo also became famous because of this. Those who were studying at the Xuanhuan mountain library discussed together and later carved a statue of her to stand in front of the library. Everyone who comes here to read in the future will give her a gift first, thanking her for preserving the books in Xuanhuan mountain so that their descendants can continue to study. Xuanhuan mountain is just a place to store books, so people call it the library pavilion. There is no one to guard it, and no force can occupy it, but it has a pivotal position in Zhizongtian. All monks whose moods are unstable and their realms are stagnant will come to Xuanhuan mountain to study. It can take anywhere from a few months to a few years to break through their current mood and realm, just because the books in the Xuanhuan mountain library are all left over from ancient times. Down. It's very magical here. You can read every book in the Xuanhuan mountain library at will, but you can't take it with you. Even if you want to copy a copy and take it away, you can't. What's even more magical is that when you study here, what you read and what you gain can only be enjoyed by yourself. If you leave here, you can't verbalize the contents of these books, and you can't tell others about your feelings. It can't be done. There is no one guarding Xuanhuan mountain. The entire library building covers a large area. There are 49 library pavilions, all of which are left over from ancient times. There is no restriction on anyone coming in to read books, and there is no need to pay any fees. There is only one thing. People who come in to read must consciously keep the Xuanhuan Mountain Library clean. Anyone who fails to abide by this agreement will be automatically thrown out. The most amazing thing is that Xuanhuan Mountain is located on the border between the two realms of demons and spirits. It is not owned by either party. Anyone who is a demon cultivator or a spiritual cultivator can come in and study at any time. Fighting is not allowed here. Xuanhuan Mountain is also the place where demon cultivators and spiritual cultivators get along most harmoniously. Luoluo, wait for me to come over, and we can revisit our old place, Zhizhong said, recovering his thoughts. Okay, Yan Xiangloo agreed happily. Zhizhong teleported to the foot of Xuanhuan Mountain and saw Yan Xiangloo in a red dress standing in the wind and looking up at the buildings on the mountain. There is the Xuanhuan Mountain Library. Zhizhong walked to Yan Xiangloo and said, let's go look at the books again and see which library we can see this time. Yan Xiangloo smiled and said, that's exactly what I meant. The books in Xuanhuan Mountain Academy are not all put together, but in different libraries. There are 49 libraries in total, and each library has a number, from the first library to the 49th library. With your level of cultivation, you can see which numbered library book can open which library door. However, even if you open the door, you may not be able to read all the books inside. Once you can read all the books in this library, you can go to the library with a higher number to read. This is also the reason why people who come here to read will improve their realm as long as they are willing to calm down and read. In the previous life, the two of them read books here for 3 months, and they only finished reading the book number 40 in the library. Neither of them could enter the library numbered 41. Now that they have been reincarnated and reborn, the first place they are familiar with is Xuanhuan Mountain, which also shows that they have an opportunity here. Whether it is Zhizhong or Yan Xiangloo, they all want to see the books in the last 9 libraries. Can I see it in this life? There is a huge rock at the foot of the mountain with 3 red words Xuanhuan Mountain on it. It is said that these 3 characters were left over from ancient times. No one knows who carved them, but these 3 characters are so magical that few people can keep staring at them. Before their deaths in their previous lives, the longest time a visitor to Xuanhuan Mountain read these 3 words was half an hour. The record holders were Zhizhong and Yan Xiangloo. Yan Xiangloo pointed at the words Xuanhuan Mountain and said with a smile, let's try it first and see how long we can look at it this time. Which one of us can look at it longer? Zhizhong said, okay. The two of them walked to the stone carvings and looked up at the words Xuanhuan Mountain. The boulder was very high and was in the center of the boulder. You had to look up to see it. At this moment, Zhizimo and Mu Changling contacted them. Zhizhong and Yan Xiangloo felt relieved knowing that they had successfully arrived at Zhizongtian. They informed them of their current location and the magic of Xuanhuan Mountain, allowing them to decide whether to come or not. Zhizimo and Mu Changling were not in the same place, but they made the same decision. They both decided to learn about Zhizongtian continent first, and then decide what to do and what to do. Yan Xiangloo and Zhizhong respect their decision. After all, after coming here, they will know their identities and stories in their previous lives, and they need time to digest them. Hence, the two of them did not interfere with their decision, and put away the sound transmission stone. They looked at each other, and then looked up at the words Xuanhuan Mountain. Just when they were looking at the words Xuanhuan Mountain, someone else came and stood silently near them and looked up at the words Xuanhuan Mountain. This is something everyone who comes to Xuanhuan Mountain must do. Even if it is not the first time, I will do it every time I come here. Everything in Xuanhuan Mountain is not without reason. In less than half a quarter of an hour, some people had already retracted their gaze and could no longer look at it. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 985. Chapter 985, Statue of Himself. In fact, looking at the three words Xuanhuan mountain tests how strong a person's mental power is, that is, how big your sea of consciousness is. The larger the sea of consciousness and the stronger the mental power, the longer you can look. It will have a headache to surpass your mental strength. No one will be stiff. How long can it be seen? If you have to persist, it is likely to become a fool. The next few people were all around a quarter of an hour, and only one person watched it for 2/4 of an hour. They were surprised to see that the pair of men and women with extremely outstanding looks who arrived before them were still watching. Are these two people so mentally powerful? When someone saw Yanxiangluo's appearance, they were immediately shocked and immediately shrugged the person next to them with their elbows. Do you think that woman looks like the statue of Tianqi in front of the academy? The people next to him were surprised when they heard this and took a closer look. It's so similar, just like Heavenly Master Yu is standing in front of us. If we didn't know that she died thousands of years ago, I would believe that they are the same person. No, I was shocked when I saw it clearly just now. It seems like she has very strong mental strength. It's been 2/4 of an hour since I came here. How long have they been here? I'm not in a hurry to go up the mountain. I want to see how long she can look at it, someone said immediately. Others have the same mentality. Since they came here because they encountered a bottleneck in their cultivation, there is no rush. There are people coming to Xuanhuan mountain every day, and people are also leaving. People are coming from behind, and people are coming down the mountain. Although there were not many, I heard that the two of them had been watching for a long time and were very shocked. Therefore, both those who came down from the mountain and those who had just arrived at Xuanhuan mountain gathered behind Yanxiangluo and Jizhong to watch. How long can they watch? Although Yanxiangluo and Jizhong were looked up at by outsiders and looked up at the words Xuanhuan mountain, each of them had entered the realm at this time. This was something they had never experienced in their previous lives, and only then did they realize the magic of the three words Xuanhuan mountain. At this time, Yanxiangluo seemed to have arrived in the ancient times. How did she know? Because she was surrounded by Pangu aura. Because of the existence of Pangu space, Yanxiangluo was very familiar with Pangu aura. At this time, he was surrounded by strong Pangu aura. Breath. From this point alone, she was sure that her soul had arrived in ancient times. She looked at everything in front of her in amazement. The ancient times were an unattainable era for their monks. The various cultivation techniques and various spiritual treasures handed down from that period were not the techniques and treasures of today. Comparable. As long as any monk obtains an ancient skill, his achievements in cultivation will definitely not be low. If a person can obtain an ancient treasure, he will be almost invincible. Now that her spirit body has come to visit the ancient times in person, how can Yanxiangluo not be excited? There is a big gap between hearing about it and seeing it with your own eyes. Yanxiangluo's spirit body is flying in the void. This is beyond her control. Since she couldn't control her, she simply relaxed her soul completely and wanted to see how she could enter such a realm and travel to the ancient times. She will not enter a certain realm for no reason. Every time she enters a realm, there will be a lot of gains or information and warnings. After the soul body relaxed, the speed seemed to be faster. Yanxiangluo looked at the mountains, rivers, villages, and passers-by below, and she realized that the scenes in the early antiquity described in ancient books were all true. Nearly all people in this period can practice cultivation, at least the people she saw were monks, and monks in ancient times were doing things that monks disdain to do now. She clearly saw monks with a high level of cultivation farming. This was something that would never happen to them now. That is only done by ordinary people who cannot practice. Not only that, they worked with each other while farming, but also discussed their cultivation experiences with each other. From time to time, they would stop to study the insights they suddenly realized. Some even sat down cross-legged in the field and started practicing without worrying about being disturbed by others. Yan Xianglego lamented that people at this time were so simple. This kind of practice that can be done anytime and anywhere shows that people of that period had a natural and simple state of mind, and did not need to be wary of anyone. Such a state of mind is something no mainlander can achieve nowadays. She could not achieve such a simple state of mind. The soul body continued to fly, and the situation she saw was changing little by little. Yan Xianglego frowned, and finally understood what kind of realm she had entered. What she is experiencing now is the process of evolution from ancient times to the present era. What she saw now was the end of the ancient times, and she could no longer sense Pangu's aura. The simplicity of the people she saw before had already undergone earth-shaking changes. At this time, she saw people fighting each other in conspiracy for rights and their own interests. People's eyes are no longer pure, good and evil have been divided into extremes, and the breath has changed. The reason why those Pangu breaths disappeared is that they were consumed by these bad breaths. This discovery shocked Yan Xianglego. Time passed little by little until she was living in the era she currently lives in. Suddenly, her spirit body left that realm, and Yan Xianglego frowned invisible. Yan Xianglego looked at the words Xuanhuan Mountain. She could still read it, but she felt there was no need to continue reading. She finally knew the reason for entering this realm, which was to let her know that the reason why evil is rampant in the mainland and the power of demons is so powerful is because of the change of people's hearts. Does this have anything to do with slaying demons? If so, what is the relationship? Yan Xianglego always felt as if something was flashing through her mind, but she couldn't catch it. She looked away, just in time to see Xuanhuan turning to look at her. The two of them exited the realm at the same time, only to realize that there were so many people around them. What you want to say is obviously inappropriate here. Xuanhuan ignored everyone, took Yan Xianglego's hand and walked towards Xuanhuan Mountain. At this time, everyone who had been waiting came to their senses, and those who were close to them quickly stopped them. Can I ask how long you two have been watching? Did you gain anything? Xuanhuan's eyes narrowed and he gave the man a cold look. What did you gain from studying on the mountain? The man immediately said dissatisfied, everyone knows that the rewards of studying on the mountain are indescribable. Aren't you asking knowingly? It turns out that you also knew that you were asking questions knowingly. Xuanhuan's tone was calm at all, but the other party could hear the chill in his tone. The other party immediately understood how rude his question was. Since I know that I can't tell you what I have gained, it is not rude to still ask others. He immediately said, I was rude, I'm sorry. Since the other party apologized so heartily, Xuanhuan would not hold on to his fault and walked up the mountain holding hands with Yan Xianglego. This time no one could stop them. Because they all knew that they had no way of knowing what Xuanhuan and Yan Xianglego had gained. Looking at the two people leaving, the people who had just arrived today immediately followed them. After all, they were going up the mountain to read, and among them were the first few to arrive. They knew clearly that Yan Xianglego and Xuanhuan had been watching there for at least 2 hours. This was something they had never dared to imagine, and they were shocked at how big the sea of consciousness of Yan Xianglego and Xuanhuan was, and how strong their mental power was. Such a strong mental power is something they have never heard of. Moreover, although they are young, they cannot sense the aura of cultivation on their bodies. Coupled with such strong mental power, there is only one reason for this: their cultivation is higher than theirs. This is also the main reason why there are so many people, but no one dares to provoke them, and it is also the reason why the person immediately apologized after realizing that he was rude. No one wants to offend a strong person. Those who just arrived today followed up the mountain, while those who just came down from the mountain originally left the mountain, but now they decided to go back to the mountain to have a look. They always feel that something big is going to happen in Xuanhuan Mountain again. Yan Xianglego and Xuanhuan are very familiar with Xuanhuan Mountain, and they recalled their experiences here in their previous life while walking. Having reached the mountainside, they finally saw the Xuanhuan Mountain Library Pavilion, and the statue of Yu Xianglou also appeared clearly in front of them. When she saw her statue, the corner of Yan Xiangluo's mouth twitched. Although she knew it was because she protected the ancient books in Xuanhuan Mountain, the people who read here carved a statue for her and placed it here, but she had never seen it. When she heard the news, she thought the statue would be placed at the foot of the mountain. After all, the buildings and ancient books on Xuanhuan Mountain were left over from ancient times. She did not think her statue was qualified to be placed on the mountain. But when the statue was carved, those people had trouble thinking about where to put the statue. Later, they decided to carry the statue up the mountain. Wherever they could go, they told where the statue should be placed, and they put it there. They carried the statue halfway up the mountain, where the library begins, in front of the library numbered 1. Ji Zhong also saw the statue of Luo Luo for the first time. In the previous life, they left here and Luo Luo became famous. They were all busy until Luo Luo later and had no time to come to Xuanhuan Mountain Academy again. But I didn't expect that I would see the statue only after I was reincarnated. Yan Xiangluo was surprised that the sculpture was so lifelike. Even her clothes, jewelry, hair, and eyes were exactly the same as hers in the previous life. This shows that the person who carved this kind of statue really put their best efforts into it. Is it the one who carved it? Looking at her statue, Yan Xiangluo felt an indescribable emotion in her heart. At this time, the people who followed them were even more shocked when they saw the statue and then saw Yan Xiangluo's face. They thought they looked like the same person before, but now comparing them together, they are almost the same person. But there are some differences, that is, the flesh and blood Yang Xiangluo is more flexible. They all wanted to ask, how could it be possible that Yu Xiangluo's identity looked exactly like that of Yu Tianqi? Could he be the reincarnation of Yu Tianqi? End of this chapter. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 986. Chapter 986. Who carved it? If Yan Xiangluo used his mind-reading skills at this time, he would definitely know that they were wrong. She didn't just come back from reincarnation. Ji Zhong's mood was also very complicated. He returned to Zhongtian again and saw things related to his previous life again, and they were still fallen statues. No matter how calm he was, he couldn't be calm. Do you know who carved this statue? Yan Xiangluo suddenly asked. Ji Zhongfen narrowed his eyes and shook his head. He really didn't know this. I only know that after that incident happened, those readers who had experienced it here, because they had witnessed with their own eyes what Luo Luo did for the Xuanhuan Mountain Library, spontaneously paid for whatever they had and took whatever they had, and carved out this statue. He has never heard of who actually carved it? Logically speaking, it shouldn't be. Are there still people like this who are not interested in fame and fortune in Zhongtian? This statue was carved in a 1:1 ratio, and was made of fine white jade. The entire jade material had no flaws at all. It is said that they scraped together money to buy it from a mine, and it was expensive. The statue in front of you is colorful, with a bright red flowing dress, black hair, bright red lips, willow eyebrows, and black eyes. All the colors are refined into white jade with a special plant, so the statue in front of you is flexible. Amazing colorful statues. The people who had been following them heard Yan Xiangluo's question, and they were smart and immediately interjected, "This is your first time here. I know which master sculptor carved this statue." Yan Xiangluo turned to look at the man who spoke. When Yan Xiangluo's eyes fell on him, the man suddenly felt his heart beating loudly. If it weren't for the sake of face, he would reach out and cover his heart to suppress the speed of his heartbeat. The reason why his heart was beating so fast was because he felt that Yan Xiangluo's home port was simply the site of Master Yan. He has never met Heavenly Master Yu, but he worships her statue every time he comes and is very familiar with the gaze of the statue. He felt that if Master Yuan was still alive, he would look at people the way Yuan Xiangluo does now. Is it convenient for you to tell me? Yan Xiangluo looked at the man and her voice was calm. The man suddenly felt honored and said immediately, "Of course." The man walked up to the two of them and stood about 3 steps away, which was a polite distance. He raised his head and glanced at the statue, bowed respectfully, and then stood up to face Yan Xiangluo. Almost everyone in the entire continent knows about the legend that dates back 10,000 years. Everyone only knows that if it weren't for Tianqiu's Xuanhuan Mountain Library Pavilion, it would no longer exist. We also know that everyone built a statue for her, but who made the sculpture specifically? But few people know it, just because the person who carved it said that he carved this kind of statue firstly to repay Master Yu for saving his life, and secondly because Master Yu had great righteousness and it was worthy of him to do so at that time. He made a request, hoping that no one would tell anyone that he was the one who carved it, so except for those who participated at the time, almost no one knew that he was the one who carved the statue of Master Yuan. How did you know? Yan Xiangluo asked. Because the person who carved the statue of Master Yu is the great sage of our Zhao family, the man said proudly. Yan Xiangluo was a little surprised. Is it such a coincidence? She wanted to know who was the person who carved her statue, and his descendants appeared. Yan Xiangluo immediately used her mind-reading skills, and heard the man in front of her keep saying in her mind, ask me quickly, so that the world will know that my uncle once carved the statue of Master Yu. The Zhao family's carving skills will also become famous all over the world. Yan Xiangluo's mouth twitched. It turned out that his purpose was to make the Zhao family's carving skills famous all over the world. If his great-uncle is really the one who carved his own statue, there is nothing wrong with helping his family become famous for his carving skills. After all, his carving skills are indeed superb. But the descendant of the Zhao family in front of him violated his uncle's wishes like this. Isn't he afraid of being punished by his uncle? Is this person too utilitarian? Sure enough, one person's achievements cannot be used to measure the entire family. There are all kinds of birds in the forest, and that's absolutely true. May I know the name of this great saint-level expert? Yuan Xiangluo asked. The man immediately said excitedly, my uncle's name is Zhao Qingde, and he is a very good sculptor in our Zhao family. Heavenly Master Yu once saved my uncle, so he took the initiative to carve a statue of Master Yu. It is precisely because Master Yu was my great-uncle's benefactor, and my uncle said that Master Yu had this look on his face when he saved him, that's why he was able to carve a lifelike statue of Master Yu. As soon as the man finished speaking, someone immediately retorted in disbelief, your Zhao family's carving skills are average. How could the statue of Tianqi be carved by your family? You don't want to take this opportunity to let your Zhao family is your carving skill famous throughout the Zhongtian continent? Why didn't I know you had such a powerful uncle? Not only is one person suspicious, but the people around him look at him with scrutiny and suspicion. The man explained anxiously, my great-uncle is a person who is very indifferent to fame and fortune. Therefore, his achievements are never publicized to the outside world and are not allowed to be passed on to the family. Today I also see that so many people don't understand the person who gave the statue to Master Yu. I just wanted to speak out and clear up my master's name. But some things became darker and darker, and in the end he had no choice but to make a vow, if I, Zhao Yushan, lie today, I will be struck by lightning and die. The red light binding the oath fell, and nothing happened to Zhao Yushan. Seeing that he had made the oath and was fine, everyone believed his words. Yan Xiangluo glanced at Zhao Yushan. Even if it was his uncle Zhao Qingde who carved his statue in repayment for his life-saving grace, it only proves that Zhao Qingde has strong carving skills, has a good heart, knows how to be grateful, and cannot represent the Zhao family. The carving skills are very good, but it does not mean that all the people in the Zhao family have good conduct. Yuan Xiangluo is very interested in this Zhao Qingde. According to Zhao Yushan, Zhao Qingde has already reached the level of a great sage, and there will always be a chance to see him in the future. Yan Xiangluo turned around and continued walking forward, with Ji Zhozhong following her. Zhao Yushan was a little unhappy when he saw Yu Xiangluo and knew that it was his uncle Zhao Qingde who carved the statue of Master Yu. However, he showed no emotion at all and turned around and left without saying a word. Even if you are disdainful in your heart, you should at least praise your uncle in face, and then confirm the Zhao family's carving skills. This is the way of thinking of a normal person. How come this person doesn't understand the world at all? However, because he didn't know Yan Xiangluo's cultivation level, coupled with the cold look in the eyes of the man next to her and the cold aura, he was also afraid. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 987. Chapter 987. Listen to your wife. Zhao Yushan saw that they were about to cross the library with the first serial number and go inside, so he suppressed his unhappiness and chased after them. Girls, this is your first time coming to the Xuanhuan Mountain Library. I'm already here for the third time. I tell you, you have to start reading from the first library. Before he could finish his words, he was interrupted by Ji Zhozhong. We know the rules of Xuanhuan Mountain. All the words that Zhao Yushan had not said were immediately choked back by Ji Zhozhong's words. Only then did he realize that the man was warning him. What is his relationship with this woman who looks so similar to Master Yu? Everyone saw Zhao Yushan's funny look and burst into laughter. Zhao Yushan's face turned blue, white, and red, changing colors back and forth, and he could slip into any crack in the ground. He felt that he had not achieved his goal today, but was even embarrassed. In the end, it was Yan Xiangluo who came to the rescue. Thank you for letting us know the sculptor of the statue of Master Tian, and thank you for your uncle's contribution. Although this sentence relieves the man, it also tells him that you should not say any other information. We don't need it. Zhao Yushan stopped, and following him would not only be shameless but also disgraceful. He said angrily in his heart, so what if he looks like Master Yu? She is not a concubine. What a noble person. The most indispensable thing in Zhozongtian continent is genius, so she is nothing. Humph, if I didn't want to use her to promote the Zhao family's sculpture skills, I wouldn't want to deal with her self-righteousness. Yan Xiangluo has not retracted her mind-reading skills, so she has always known the man's mental activities. But she didn't care, even for the sake of Zhao Qingde carving a statue of himself, but she really felt that Zhao Yushan's character was really incomparable to that of his uncle Zhao Qingde. Although Yan Xiangluo didn't know when she had saved Zhao Qingde in her previous life, maybe she just did it casually, but Zhao Qingde kept this kindness in his heart and repaid the kindness in this way after his death, which shows that the character is very good. Yan Xiangluo looked back at Zhao Yushan, this time looking at his luck. Yan Xiangluo sighed secretly. Does it mean that a person with such luck is still dancing so happily because he thinks his luck is not bad enough? She is not nosy, she has enough troubles of her own. I had forgotten before that there was a statue of myself on Xuanhuan Mountain, and it was carved so much like it. Now I don't have to think about it, and I know that the news of her reincarnation and return has been known to those people. Trouble and danger will come as soon as they leave Xuanhuan Mountain. It was an oversight after all. However, things have reached this point, and she will not back down because of the upcoming danger. Doing the right thing right now is the most important thing. Yan Xiangluo averted her eyes and continued walking forward with Ji Zhozhong. The two of them walked forward as they knew each other well, bypassing one library after another. There are people reading in every library, and the people behind them are a little puzzled. Aren't the people who come to Xuanhuan Mountain Library all reading books to look for opportunities to break through bottlenecks? Why do these two people seem to be here for sightseeing? They passed directly over the library with the first serial number, and did not stop at the second library. Originally, they were thinking that Yan Xiangluo's appearance was too similar to that of Master Tian Tian, but now they suddenly felt that there was something strange about these two people. So some curious people continued to follow them, watching them go around the library, with more and more doubts in their hearts. Are you just here to see what Xuanhuan Mountain is like and not just to read books? Yan Xiangluo and Zhizhong did not stop until they reached the door of the 41st library. The two of them looked up at the serial number of the library together, looked at each other, and Yuan Xiangluo said, "Start." Zhizhong said dotingly, "Listen to your wife." This was the first time that Yan Xiangluo was called so by Zhizhong, and it was still in front of so many people. Her cheeks were suddenly stained with two red clouds. She gave him an angry look and then opened the door of the library first. Zhizhong's lips curved with pleasure. His little girl was indeed very cute at heart. The people following them were surprised by Zhizhong's address to Yan Xiangluo. They were actually husband and wife, and they got married at such a young age. Suddenly, it dawned on them that the two of them had such outstanding looks and such strong talents. How could anyone else be worthy of them besides each other? But before they could recover from the fact that they were husband and wife, they saw Yan Xiangluo reaching out and gently pushing open the door of the library numbered 41. Oh my God, she actually opened the door of the 41st library. No wonder they didn't go into the previous library. It turned out that she was so strong. No, how did they know they could directly enter the 41st library? Don't everyone who comes here have to start reading from the library with the first serial number? Haven't I heard that you can go into the library and read books on the way? Happily, those who have gone in before don't need to go into the library that they have already gone into next time. Isn't this their first time here? Even Zhao Yishan was so shocked that he couldn't recover. He was wondering if his previous behavior was seeking death. Fortunately, he didn't care about him and didn't even know that he borrowed the glory of his uncle Zhao Kingd. At this time, everyone was curious about the cultivation levels of Yan Xiangluo and Zhizhong. There are very few people who come to Xuanhuan Mountain to cultivate in the Mahayana. Whoever opens the door to the library can only go in, so Yan Xiangluo opened the door and walked in, and then the door was closed. Zhizhong also reached out and gently pushed the door open, then walked in. The people who followed them looked at the closed library door, and the scene of them opening the door easily was replayed in front of their eyes. Why didn't they know that the library door was so easy to open? They all suspected that the door was broken. A curious person walked to the door and pushed it, but it didn't move at all. He muttered, "This door really can't be opened." "Does anyone know these two people?" someone in the crowd asked in a low voice. "There is no other way, talking is not allowed in the Xuanhuan Mountain Library Pavilion, and loud noises are not allowed outside." The question was asked, but no one answered it, but this was expected by everyone. If any of them knew these two people, they would have said it long ago. How can such a person who is so young, has such strong mental power, and has such a high level of cultivation and can enter the 41st library as soon as he comes, not be famous on the mainland? Someone raised a question. This question has asked everyone again. How long do you think it will take them to finish reading the books in library no 41? After a while, someone asked a new question. The fragrance falls ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 988. Chapter 988, Being Hit. This question successfully aroused the interest of everyone present. "I'm going to stay here and see how long it takes them to come out," said a man who had already gone down the mountain because the two of them returned to the mountain again. "Anyway, he has reached the limit of reading in Xuanhuan Mountain this time, otherwise he would have to go back down the mountain, and it doesn't matter if he is a few days late. I'm waiting here too. There are several people who have completed this reading task. There's no point in waiting. How about we play a game of gambling?" someone suggested. How to bet? This suggestion immediately aroused the interest of many people. Bet on the time they come out. The time closest to the time they come out wins. I think it's okay, I'll participate. The outside of the library became lively for a while, but it was all done quietly and they didn't dare to make a big noise. At this time, Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong stood in front of the library door and looked inside. All the bookstores with serial numbers in Xuanhuan Mountain have the same layout. You can only start reading in one order when you come in. The higher the bookstore number, the fewer people are inside. There is actually one person reading in the bookstore with serial number 41. And he is also a demon cultivator. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong were a little surprised to see a demon cultivator reading a book inside. After all, who can enter here to read is not only a matter of cultivation level and state of mind, but also a requirement for mental strength. This is something they only understood after coming in. Although their spiritual power in the previous life was very strong, it had not yet reached the level of entering the 41st library, but this demon cultivator had already stated in it that his spiritual power was very strong, at least better than them in the previous life. This fact made Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong understand that they had to re-examine the genius of Zhikongtian today. The demon cultivator saw someone coming in, and two people came in at the same time. They were both very young, and he didn't even have time to hide the surprise in his eyes. But he quickly reacted, nodded politely to the two of them, and continued to read the book in his hand. The relationship between the spiritual cultivators and the demonic cultivators in Zhikongtian is pretty good. Although they live and practice independently, they do not often go to war with the demonic cultivators and spiritual cultivators in the higher continent below. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong didn't say anything. They could chat outside the library, but they were absolutely not allowed to talk inside any library. You are not allowed to say a word. If you make any noise, you will be sent out immediately, and there will be corresponding punishments. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong also nodded politely to each other, then looked at each other and started reading. There are 10 ancient books in each library. Although the 10 books in such a large library are not many, and they even look a little lonely, it is not easy to read all 10 books. Such an easy thing. Because you not only have to see it, but you also have to remember it, and most importantly, you have to understand it. You don't understand and you can't remember. These 10 books are suspended in the air in order. Everyone who comes in must read them one by one in order. Only after reading the first book can you read the second one. After reading them all, you can go to the collection of higher numbered books. Pavilion. But if multiple people enter the same library at the same time, the order of the books will be automatically adjusted so that everyone has a book to read. There is also a restriction, no more than 10 people can come in. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong caught the books floating in front of them one after another, and then started to read them seriously. It's not just that you read the book once, but you have to understand and remember it. Both Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong have photographic memories very fast. Maybe because my mental strength is strong enough, my understanding ability is also very strong now. I almost understand it after reading it, and then I remember it. The demon cultivator looked at them very carefully and didn't notice the speed of their reading at first. But later he found that they were walking in front of him and realized something was wrong. Looking up at them, I realized that in the short time since they came in, I hadn't even read half of a book, and they had already read 6. At this speed, are you reading a book? But he knew very well that there were rules for reading in Xianxia Pavilion. If they had not finished reading, they would never be able to read the next one. While he was stunned, Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhizhong both changed books. Mo Xiu took a deep breath, calmed down his unstable emotions, looked down at the book in his hand, and tried to let the two of them read the book as fast as possible without affecting himself. Everyone has different talents and strengths. He was very satisfied to be able to enter the number 41 library to read this time. Don't let other people affect your mood. But how can this kind of emotion be so easy to control? After all, he is also a genius among the demon clan, but in front of these two people, he feels that his title of genius is a joke. These two are real geniuses. For a moment he couldn't stabilize his emotions and couldn't read the book in his hand. At this moment, Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong stared at the book in his hand, and he realized that they had finished reading all the books except his. He immediately let go of the book in his hand, and the book automatically floated towards the two of them. The demon cultivator simply sat cross-legged and closed his eyes, using practice to stabilize his emotions. Before he stabilized his emotions, he sensed Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong leaving the back door of the library. The demon cultivator was deeply shocked. How long has it been? Although he used cultivation to stabilize his emotions, it didn't take more than half an hour from the time the two of them came in to the time they left. In such a short time, the two of them had read all 10 books in the library. How strong are their mental powers? He thought hard about how long it took the fastest person to read before. It seemed to be 1 day and 3 hours. Such a comparison, these two people's talents are no longer enough to be described as monsters. The demon cultivator who was struck had no choice but to continue practicing to stabilize his emotions. At the same time, he also knew where his bottleneck was. Maybe this time when I come to Xuanhuan Mountain, I can go one step further and read the books in the library numbered 42. It took Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong less than half an hour to finish reading the 41st library. Each library is the same. You can only come out from the back after reading all the books. What's funny is that before the gambling game outside has been completed, the couple has already come out, and the expressions on everyone's faces are very exciting. Seeing that the couple had entered the library numbered 42, everyone was stunned. Then someone asked weakly, "How is the bet calculated?" The person who set up the gambling game rolled his eyes at him. "How can we calculate it before the gambling game has even started?" "Continue to bet on the next one," someone suggested. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 989. Chapter 989 Mahayana Cultivation. Everyone feels that the bet can continue. After all, they already know the terrifying speed at which the couple reads books. With a comparative prediction of the time when they will come out of the 42nd library, it will not be a fool's errand. However, this time the action was very fast. In less than a quarter of an hour, the bet was set up and all bets were completed. It's just that the time for betting is a little more than half an hour away. Each one takes longer than the other. This is the rule of reading here. So they all felt that it should take them more than half an hour this time. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong didn't know that they had set up a bet. At this time, the two of them were staring at each other in the library numbered 42. The two people in the library were surprised when someone came in. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong were surprised that there were two people reading in the 42nd library. 10,000 years ago, no one could enter the library above the 40th library, but now they actually see people in the 41st and 42nd library. Is it possible that there are so many geniuses in Zhozongtian continent now? They are not jealous, but think that the more geniuses, the better. The stronger the monks are, the more powerful there are in the 9 heavens, and the stronger the demon slayers will be. However, Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong just looked at each other, then picked up the book suspended in front of them and started reading. The two men stared at them for a while before looking away and continued to read the books in their hands, but it was difficult to calm down. Serial number 42, they were not surprised that someone could come into the library. What they were curious about was that these two people looked young. The woman was not even 20 years old, and the man was only in his early 20s. At such a young age, he can actually enter the library numbered 42 to read books. This is how powerful he is mentally. They were even more shocked at how Yuan Xiongluo's appearance looked so similar to Master Yuan. If there wasn't a man accompanying him, they all suspected that they had entered some kind of realm and saw Master Yuan again. The reason why they can clearly see the age of Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong is because their cultivation levels are higher than them. Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong had their spiritual power instantly exhausted when they tore apart the barrier between Zhuyuan continent and Xi'ai continent, and then recovered their spiritual power. This method is to temper the strength of cultivation, coupled with the strength of their own talents. When they come to the 9th level of heaven, they not only break through the 9th level of transcending tribulation peak cultivation to reach Mahayana cultivation. The two of them have broken through an entire level, and are now at the peak of the 9th level of Mahayana cultivation. It was precisely because they could clearly see the cultivation levels of Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong that they were sure that they had not entered a certain realm and met Master Yan Tianqi himself. Because Master Yu's cultivation level is that of a great sage. Yan Xiongluo didn't know the effect her appearance had on the two of them. As soon as she opened the book, she read it deeply. Like Ji Zhikong, they came here to read books and were not interested or concerned about other things. But the minds of those two people have never been able to calm down, let alone concentrate on reading. The two of them were able to enter this library, so they must not be in an ordinary state of mind. They knew that their state of mind was affected by these two young men with evil talents. If their minds are not well adjusted, they will not be able to continue reading. Therefore, the two simply stopped reading and looked at Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong intently. They were even more shocked at this sight. Can anyone else read a book at such a speed? Then they understood that these two people had a photographic memory. But even if you have a photographic memory, reading a book here is not something you can just remember. It requires understanding. Has their understanding ability already reached this level? Can you understand it just by remembering it? These two people can read here, and they are both geniuses in the 9 heavens. Now they are deeply shocked. If they hadn't been reading here and couldn't talk, the two of them would have definitely started talking, at least asking each other if they knew Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong. Time passed little by little, and soon it was half an hour. Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong were already reading the last book. In less than half an hour, the two people had been beaten by Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong and had no idea at all. Finally watched the two of them leave through the back door. They looked at each other. It seemed difficult to calm down. They even picked up a book and still couldn't read it. The two of them sighed silently, because they all knew that it was difficult for them to adjust their mood at this time, because they were always worried about whether the two people who had gone out could enter the number 43 Dang's huge to read so fast. Since they couldn't sort out their mood and couldn't continue reading, the two simply left the library and planned to follow them to have a look. Although they cannot enter the next library until they have finished reading the books in the 42nd library, they can wait at the back door. But the two of them were dumbfounded as soon as they came out. Why were there so many people outside? Thousands of people come to Xuanhuan Mountain Library to read. Normally, there is no one outside. Occasionally, I see people, either just coming in or going out. I have never seen so many people gathered together. Although everyone was quiet and there was no noise, there must be a reason for so many people gathering together. The people outside were a little surprised to see the two people coming out. They were just studying who would win the bet. After all, Yan Xiongluo and Ji Zhizhong came out in less than half an hour. Therefore, they were shocked to see two more people coming out, even though they came out of the front door. Although I was shocked that there are so many geniuses with monstrous talents in the mainland, when I saw the age of the two of them, although I didn't know the specific age, I guessed that they were close to 10, and I felt that at this age, they could enter the ranking of 40 and above. The library is considered normal. Although both parties were shocked, it only took a moment for them to return to normal. The two people who came out asked them and found out why so many people gathered together. Knowing that Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong had been reading the words Xuanhuan mountain at the foot of the mountain for so long, they were finally not so surprised at the speed of reading and understanding of the book in the library. It is normal for a person with such a strong mental power to do any evil thing. Although the two of them did not join the bet, they also waited with everyone outside the library pavilion where Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong were. They want to know how many books in the library can Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong read, and whether they can read all the books in the library in Xuanhuan Mountain. End of this chapter. The Fragrance Falls Ninefold. Author, Midday Sunday. Chapter 990. Chapter 990. What should I do? Although there were many people, no one made a loud noise, nor did they all gather at the back door to wait. Instead, they waited in front, and one person went to the back door to wait for them to come out. Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong have very strong mental powers, so they can naturally sense how many people are outside. However, since the people outside do not disturb their reading, they naturally ignore what they want to do. The two of them still came out of the 43rd library in less than half an hour. The higher the serial number, the higher the position of the library. Logically speaking, the higher the library, the longer it should take. However, they always finished reading the books in a library in less than half an hour. When they entered the last library, which was numbered 49, everyone was not only shocked this time, but more expectant. Because no one has ever entered the 43rd library to read books, let alone the 49, but the two of them actually entered the last one, which is also the highest level library. Everyone wants to know what will be gained by those who come out of it. Although no one can tell what they gain, they can also feel some of it from the changes in their breath. Although Yan Xiangluo and Ji Zhozhong did not communicate with each other, they both knew that the other party was not so calm. Because it was only then that they truly knew the true meaning of the existence of the Xuanhuan Mountain Library. At this time, the deeds of the two of them have spread throughout the entire 9 heavens. After receiving the news, all forces sent people to Xuanhuan Mountain to see which family these two legendary figures belonged to. Some people knew that the appearance of the woman among them was exactly the same as that of Yuan Xiangluo thousands of years ago, and they felt very uneasy, because they knew very well that sooner or later, Yuan Xiangluo would come back, and now she is back. The Zhao family is one of those people who are anxious, and the atmosphere in the Zhao family is very solemn. Everyone's focus is on Yan Xiangluo because no one knows Ji Zhokong's appearance. His identity was not that eye-catching 10,000 years ago, but the people of the Zhao family were very aware of Ji Zhozhong's talent and strength. The image of Ji Zhozhong sent back by the people they arranged to come over let them know that not only Yan Xiangluo was back, but Ji Zhozhong was also back. They are trying to figure it out. Zhao Jingyu said with a sinister look, he just came back, and his cultivation level is still far behind what he was in his previous life. Take advantage of him before he grows up. Otherwise, when he grows up, the first one we won't let go of is us, Zhao Home. The head of the Zhao family, who was also the father of Ji Zhozhong in his previous life, glanced at him and said, "Who doesn't understand the principle of striking first to gain the upper hand? How to strike?" His feelings for Ji Zhozhong's son are very complicated. He doesn't like him, and it can be said that he hates him, but he is also very jealous of his talent and wisdom. He would be very happy if his talent and wisdom were the son of the woman he liked, but Ji Zhozhong was born to the woman he hated most in his life. Love Wujiwu, hate Wujiwu equally, hate a person and hate the child he gave birth to, even if this child also has his own blood. He knew very well what he had done to their mother and son, and did not even acknowledge his existence, so he took his mother's surname. Now, Ji Zhozhong has been reincarnated and has no blood relationship with him anymore, but that doesn't mean there is no hatred. In the previous life, Ji Zhozhong might not have done anything to him because of the blood relationship between father and son, but in this life, They have no relationship at all. Without even thinking about it, he knew that with Xuanhuan's character he would never attack them lightly. What's more, he also knew very well what his favorite son had done to Xuanhuan and what he had done to the woman he liked. The woman sitting next to her asked uneasily, "What should we do?" Hate Xuanhuan in her heart. When she was alive, she was a thorn in her heart. She finally died, but she didn't expect to be reborn again. Thinking that they were no match for him 10,000 years ago, if that boy hadn't been a lover like his mother and died for Xianxia, they didn't know what would have happened. They thought that would be it, and their family could finally be together. I straightened my back, but I didn't expect that one day Xuanhuan would come back in another way. It didn't take much to think about it to know that Xuanhuan would not be polite to them. Zhao Jingyu glanced at his mother, then at his father, who was frowning, and said, "Ask my brothers to come back." The implication is that both the head of the Zhao family and his wife understand the meaning of the eldest son. The family has reached a point where life and death are at stake. Those vassal clansmen cannot play a big role. There are even some who want to fish in troubled waters and wish that something bad happened to them so that they can inherit everything of the Zhao family. They want to get rid of Xuanhuan. It's up to them. The head of the Zhao family thought for a moment, took out the sound transmission stone, and asked the two younger sons in their respective sects to come back quickly. The younger sons are twins. They are talented and intelligent. Although they cannot compare with Xuanhuan, they have good luck. They have made progress step by step and now have some status in the sect. Both of them are direct disciples of their respective sect leaders. After receiving the message from their father, the two of them contacted each other, and each told the sect master before going home. The two of them came back in less than a quarter of an hour. Seeing that my parents and eldest brother looked a little confused, they asked in unison, "Dad, did something happen at home?" Zhao Jingyu briefly explained the matter. After hearing this, the two of them were a little surprised. They also knew that their mother was not their father's first wife. His previous wife gave birth to a son who was said to be extremely talented, but died early. They were all born after Xuanhuan's death, so naturally they had never seen him. Although their eldest brother had heard about Xuanhuan's mother and son, they didn't feel deeply about it. After all, they were all dead, so they didn't take it to heart. Now tell them that Xuanhuan has been reincarnated and come back. They are shocked. Can a person really be so powerful? You can actually be reborn with memories after death? Dad, brother, are you sure it's him who's back, as expected of twins? They asked in unison. The head of the Zhao family said, "You were not born at that time, so you don't know what he is capable of. Not only is he back, but so is Yu Xiangluo." The twin brothers were stunned, and after looking at each other, one of them said, "The news came from the sect today. A woman who looks very similar to Master Yu Tian appeared in the Xuanhuan mountain library. Could it be that she is Yu Xiangluo, reincarnation?" They remembered that their elder brother said that Xuanhuan died for Master Yu, and they actually came back together again. Is it so fantasy? Although we didn't see it with our own eyes, we are certain that they are back, Zhao Jingyu said with certainty.